The sky above Thalassari IV was dark, covered in thick black smoke. Fires burned across the ruined city. Buildings stood broken like skeletons, and silence hung heavy over the battlefield. The war had stopped 3 days ago, but fear still lived. In the streets, Sergeant John Davis, a human soldier from Earth, walked slowly through the rubble. His boots crunched on broken glass. He held his rifle low, his eyes scanning every corner. He was not looking for enemies now. He was looking for survivors. Behind him, his unit spread out, checking old homes and shelters. Most of them were empty. Others were filled with painful memories, scorched toys, torn clothes, food left untouched. Davis had seen too much war. Too many times he had found no one left to save. Then he heard something, a soft sound, like crying. He stopped. His hand went up, signaling the others to hold position. The sound came again, high-pitched, weak but clear. A child's sob. Davis turned toward a collapsed structure. Part of a small home still stood, its door hanging open. Carefully, he stepped inside. "Hello?" he called softly. "Is someone there?" Silence. Then a tiny gasp. He followed the sound to a corner covered with debris. Gently, he pushed aside a broken metal sheet. Behind it, curled up and shaking, was a small figure. It was not human. The child had smooth, bright blue skin, large black eyes, and webbed fingers. It was one of the Alari, a peaceful amphibious species. The child looked no older than 6 in human years. His body trembled, and he clutched a worn blanket to his chest. When he saw Davis, he screamed. Davis dropped his rifle immediately and raised his hands. "No, no, it's okay," he said softly. "I won't hurt you." The child tried to crawl backward, but there was nowhere to go. Davis slowly removed his helmet, showing his face. "See? I'm not scary. I'm here to help." The child's big eyes stared at him, filled with fear and confusion. "My name is John," Davis said gently. "Can you understand me?" The child didn't speak. Davis reached into his pack and pulled out a small chocolate bar. "Here, food. You hungry?" He placed it on the floor and slid it toward the child. The boy hesitated, then slowly reached for it. He sniffed it, then took a tiny bite. His eyes lit up. Davis smiled. "Told you. Good stuff." The child looked at him, a little less afraid now. "What's your name, kid?" Davis asked. The child whispered, "Karen." Davis nodded. "Nice to meet you, Karen." Suddenly, a loud noise echoed outside, a buzzing mechanical sound. Davis's smile vanished. He turned toward the window and peeked through. A hostile scout drone hovered nearby. Enemy tech. Dangerous. He turned back to Karen. "Listen to me. You're not safe here. That thing outside, it's bad. Very bad. But I can protect you. I promise." Karen stared at him. Tears formed again in his eyes. Davis held out his hand. "Come with me." For a moment, Karen didn't move. Then, slowly, he reached out and took Davis's hand. "Good boy," Davis said. He gently lifted Karen into his arms. "Let's get you home." He moved carefully, staying low, sneaking out of the broken house. The drone's buzzing got louder. They ducked behind a stone wall. "Delta Team, this is Davis," he whispered. Into his cum. "I've got a child, Alari, alive. Hostile drone nearby. Need a distraction or cover fast?" A voice replied. "Copy that, Sergeant. We'll draw it off in 30 seconds. Davis held Karen close. The child clung to his vest, eyes wide with fear. The drone moved closer, scanning the area. Then dash, boom. An explosion rocked the street behind them. Smoke rose, and the drone turned, racing toward the sound. "Now," Davis said, running fast and quiet. He dashed through alleys, cutting corners, avoiding open roads. His team was waiting at a transport truck 2 blocks away. When they saw Davis with the child, their eyes widened. "Is that an Alari kid?" one soldier asked. Davis nodded, found him hiding alone. No adults. "Oh?" Another soldier frowned. "We're not supposed to bring locals into evac zones." Davis looked at them firmly. I'm not leaving him. They didn't argue. He climbed into the truck with Karen still in his arms. The child was shaking again. Lascivious pulled a blanket from his pack and wrapped it around him. You're safe now, he whispered. The truck roared to life and sped away from the ruins. Karen's head rested against Davis's chest. His small hand clutched the soldier's armor. Then, very softly, the child whispered one word in his own language. Ma. Davis's heart ached. He gently patted the boy's back. We'll find her, he said. I promise. But as the truck disappeared into the smoky horizon, none of them saw the small drone reappear watching from above, silent and deadly. The transport truck shook as it raced down the broken highway. Thick smoke still floated through the air, hiding the sun. Sergeant Davis sat in the back, holding Karen tightly in his arms. The young alien child had finally stopped crying, but his eyes stayed wide open, watching everything, afraid of every sound. Davis looked down at him and gave a calm smile. You're okay, I've got you. Karen didn't answer, but he didn't pull away either. That was progress. The other soldiers in the truck stared. Some looked confused. Others looked unsure. Most of them had never seen an Alari child this close before. Alari were known for avoiding humans unless absolutely necessary. Is he injured? Corporal Malik asked. Small cuts and bruises? Nothing serious, Davis replied. But he's scared. We need to get him somewhere safe. Their radio crackled. Evac Zone Alpha is down, the voice on the radio said. Repeat Evac Alpha. Destroyed. Reroute to backup zone grid C7. Malik cursed under his breath. That's enemy territory. Davis nodded. We'll go around. I'll handle it. The truck turned, bumping over a rough path through the hills. The soldiers kept quiet. Every one of them knew what it meant danger ahead. Karen tugged on Davis's sleeve and pointed outside. Boom, he said softly. Davis followed his finger and saw a black drone hovering in the sky. His heart sank. That's the same one. Davis muttered. The drone had followed them. Get down. He shouted, bullets fired from the sky, slicing into the truck. The driver shouted as glass shattered and sparks flew. The vehicle spun and slammed into a wall, stopping hard. Everyone inside groaned in pain. Davis opened his eyes and looked around. The others were hurt, but alive. He checked Karen O'Blood, just shocked. He jumped out of the truck with Karen in his arms. Malik, cover fire, he yelled. The drone was circling back. Davis sprinted across the rubble-strewn ground. Yeah, his legs burned, but he didn't slow down. He could hear the drone's engine getting closer again. It fired again, a metal dart streaked through the air, headed straight for K. Single quotes, Ren Davis twisted his body and took the hit in his side. You, it grunted, nearly falling. Karen looked up, eyes full of fear. Davis held on tight. I told you. I got you. He kept running. Finally, slid behind an old concrete barrier and lay Karen down gently. Blood trickled from Davis's side, but he smiled. Nothing serious, just a scratch. Karen looked at the wound, then reached into a small satchel. He pulled out a tiny blue leaf and pressed it gently against Davis's injury. Davis blinked. What's this? Karen said. Healing plant? Mama used it when I fall down. The leaf released a soft glow, and Davis felt warmth on his skin. The bleeding slowed. He gave a small chuckle. Well, you're tougher than you look. Malik and the other soldiers caught up and formed a perimeter. We can't stay here, Malik said. We'll be surrounded in 10 minutes. Davis looked. Around, we're near the canyon. You can reach the riverbed and follow it to the cliffs. There's nothing down there but wind and dust, another soldier said. Davis shook his head. There's an old Elari tunnel system. I saw the maps during joint training. We'll take the kid home through it. Karen looked up, surprised. You know our tunnels? A little, Davis said. Enough to try? The team moved quickly, Davis still carrying Karen. They slid down the steep canyon wall and reached the dry riverbed below as they moved along the twisting path. Because you needed help. That's what humans do. We protect kids, no matter what species they are. Karen blinked. But you're scary, Mama. Say humans are. Strong and loud, Davis laughed softly. Yeah, we are. but we're also kind when it matters. Karen thought about this. Remind me of Story Hero in Cave Book. Cave Book, Davis asked. Karen nodded. Old story. It's about a warrior who carried water across fire to save the children, even though he was burning. Davis's smile faded slightly. That's a good story. Maybe I'll read it one day. Suddenly, the canyon shook. A landslide crashed down behind them, blocking the path. Davis turned to Malik. We're sealed in. Malik pointed. Right there, an opening. They rushed into a dark hole in the canyon wall and entrance to the Ilari tunnels. Inside, it was quiet and cool. Glowing moss lit the walls in soft blue. Karen took the lead now. This way, he said. I know. They followed the child through the winding tunnel paths. Davis watched him carefully. For the first time, Karen didn't look scared. He looked brave. After an hour of walking, they reached a stone gate carved with Ilari writing. Karen stopped and touched the gate. Close. Village is beyond. Davis sat down, exhausted but relieved. Karen looked at him. Doro, what's that mean? Davis asked. Karen smiled. It means guardian by heart. Davis felt something shift in his chest. He had been called many names in war. Sergeant, soldier, sometimes worse, but never Doro, it meant. Suddenly a voice crackled in Davis's ear. HQ-2 Delta Team. Rescue ship is en route. Confirm coordinates.
How?
Davis stood. Let's bring this kid home. He looked down at Karen, who now stood taller than before. We're not done yet, Davis said, but we're close. And together, they walked toward the light beyond the gate. One soldier, one child, and a quiet bond stronger than armor. The stone gate opened with a slow rumble. Cool breeze flowed out of the tunnel, brushing against Sergeant Davis's face. He took a deep breath and looked at Karen, who stood at his side. Are you sure this path leads to your village? Davis asked. Karen nodded with confidence. Yes, Mama said, always follow the glowing trail. The blue moss will guide us home. Davis gave him a thumbs up. Good, let's stick to the blue then. Behind them, Corporal Malik and 2 more soldiers followed, checking their scanners for motion. The enemy was still out there. The hostile drone hadn't been seen since the canyon, but that didn't mean they were safe. They walked for more than an hour. The tunnel twisted and turned like a snake, sometimes narrow, sometimes wide. The walls were damp, and water dripped from the ceiling. Glowing moss lit their way, casting a soft blue light on their faces. To keep Karen calm, Davis began to talk. Back on Earth, we used to crawl through caves like this during training, but we didn't have glowing walls, just dirt and darkness. Karen listened carefully. Earth sounds scary. Davis laughed. It is, sometimes. But it's also beautiful. We have oceans, forests, snow-covered mountains, and even big deserts like Thalasari. Karan tilted his head. Do you have singing fish? Davis blinked. What? Karen smiled. Our river fish sing when it rains. Davis grinned. No singing fish on Earth. You win that one. Suddenly a loud crack echoed through the tunnel. Everyone froze. Malik whispered, movement up ahead. Davis raised his hand, signaling silence. He slowly stepped forward, Karen close behind. Then, from the darkness, a shadow moved, not enemy soldiers, but Ilari villagers holding glowing staffs and wearing armor made of stone and shell. Hold your fire, Davis called. We're friendly. One of the villagers raised a staff. You are human, he said in a low voice. Yes, Davis said. This child Karenni's one of yours. I found him in the ruins. I brought him back. The villagers looked shocked. But one of them stepped closer. Karen. The child looked up. Uncle Selim. The man ran forward and dropped to his knees. He placed his hands on Karen's face, tears falling from his eyes. We thought you were gone. Your mother. She still waits. Karen smiled. I knew someone would come. The villagers turned to Davis. They were silent, unsure how to react. I am Sergeant Davis, he said. Karen was alone. I couldn't leave him behind. The elder nodded slowly. You are not what we expected. Davis smiled. I get that a lot. The Alari offered food and rest. They guided the humans to a hidden chamber where clean water flowed and soft moss covered the floor as Davis sat down to rest. Karen crawled beside him and whispered, I think they like you now. Yeah, Davis chuckled. That's good. I like them too. Later that night, while the others slept, Davis couldn't rest. His side still ached from the dart wound, and something kept bothering him, the drone. It never attacked again. That wasn't normal. He walked to the chamber entrance and looked out into the open sky. The tunnel had led to a cliff high above, the plains. Below, the burned land stretched far and wide. The stars above twinkled, but one of them was blinking. Davis narrowed his eyes. That's not a star, he muttered. A soft whir came from the shadows. Suddenly, the drone was back hovering. Silently above the cliff edge, scanning for targets, Davis ducked and grabbed his communicator. Malik, wake up. Enemy drone spotted. We've been tracked. Malik's voice came through. On my way. As the drone moved again, this time toward the cave entrance. Then Davis noticed something worse. A second blinking light. Not one drone. Two. He turned to warn the others, but Karen was already beside him, holding a small crystal in his hand. What's that? Davis asked. Beacon stone, Karen whispered. Used in emergencies. Mama gave me one. Davis looked at the drone, then at the glowing crystal. It was giving off a tiny pulse. Oh no, Davis said. It's how they tracked us. Karen's eyes widened. I didn't know. It's not your fault, Davis said quickly. He took the crystal and threw it over the cliff as hard as he could. The drones followed instantly. Zooming after the false signal, Malik arrived just in time to see them vanish into the night. We need to move now, Davis said. They'll be back soon. The Alari villagers gathered quickly. Can take the old glider path, Selim said. It's steep but faster. Davis nodded. Do it. Let's get Karen to his mother. We followed the hidden mountain trail. It was narrow and full of sharp rocks, but the view was wide. As they climbed, Davis could see smoke rising from the valley where the drones had gone. Suddenly, strong winds blew across the cliff. The old glider path had once been used for flying transport boards. Now it was just a dangerous ledge. Halfway across, the wind grew stronger. One soldier slipped and almost fell, but Davis caught him in time. Karen held Davis's hand tightly. Are we close? Almost there, Davis said. Just stay with me. Finally, they reached the top of the cliff. Below them, in a valley of glowing trees and shimmering pools, was an Alari village. Lights flickered. Soft music floated in. The air, Karen gasped. Home? Davis looked down and smiled. Let's finish this. The path down the cliff was steep and narrow, but Sergeant Davis moved carefully, holding Karen's hand the whole way. The soft glow of the Alari village below gave him hope. Finally, they were close. As they walked down, Karen pointed at a tree with wide, glowing leaves. That's a lightroot tree. My mama planted one when I was born. Davis smiled. It's beautiful, just like this whole place. The village sat beside a clear blue lake. Small houses made of stone and water crystal sparkled under the night sky. Alari children played near the lake, and soft songs echoed in the air. It was peaceful, very different from the war-torn ruins they had come from as they entered the village. The Alari people stopped and stared. Some looked afraid. Others looked curious. A few gasped when they saw Karen. From the largest house, a tall Alari woman ran out, her eyes wide. Her skin shimmered in the moonlight. She rushed toward them, dropping to her knees. Karen, she cried, pulling him into her arms. Mama, Karen shouted, hugging her tightly. She touched his face, checking him all over. You're safe. You're alive. I thought I lost you. Karen pointed back at Davis. He saved me. He brought me back. The mother looked at Davis, her eyes full of emotion. She stood up slowly and stepped closer. You are human. Davis nodded. Yes, ma'am. Sergeant John Davis. I found him alone. I couldn't leave him. The mother's eyes filled with tears. Thank you, from my heart. Thank you. Others gathered around. Ilari, elders, warriors, and healers all stared at Davis. They had never seen a human up close like this. Not without armor, not carrying weapons, but carrying a child. The village elders stepped forward. You crossed the canyon? The tunnels? The glider path? Yes, Davis said. We had no other way. You risked your life, the elder said. For a child not your own. Davis looked at Karen, who stood smiling beside his mother. He is someone's child. That was enough. The elder nodded. We were told humans were dangerous, loud, wild, but you are different. Davis said nothing. He didn't need to argue. His actions had already spoken. That night, the village held a peace gathering. It was a tradition to honor acts of courage and kindness. Soft music played as the Ilari lit small floating lights and placed them in the lake. Each light was a symbol of a prayer, hope, peace, or remembrance. Karen placed a light in the water. For the others who didn't come back, he whispered. Davis stood beside him and placed one too, for those we couldn't save. The Ilari mother walked over and gave Davis a small bowl of blue fruit. You are a guest of honor. Eat. Rest. You have earned it. Davis smiled. Thank you. Later, Davis sat with Corporal Malik near the fire. Never thought I'd see this, Malik said. An alien village, glowing trees, music in the air. Us as guests. Davis nodded. Funny how war makes enemies. But saving a child? That makes friends? Think they'll forgive what happened to their cities? Davis looked into the flames. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. Others rested. Davis walked alone to the edge of the lake. He stared up at the stars. So many lights. So many worlds. And yet here on this quiet planet, a small child had reminded him why he became a soldier, not to destroy, but to protect. Footsteps came behind him. It was Karen. Can't sleep? Davis asked. Karen shook his head. Too many dreams. Good ones or bad ones? Karen thought. Both. Davis sat on a rock. That's normal. After everything we saw. Karen looked at him. You remind me of my papa. He was strong. He used to tell me, be brave, even when afraid. Davis smiled, smart man. He died in the first attack. Davis looked at the ground. I'm sorry. Karen stepped closer. But now I have a second guardian. You. Davis looked up, surprised. Karen held out a small necklace. It had a glowing blue stone in the middle. This is for you, the boy said. It means protector of light in our language. Davis took it carefully. Karen, this is too much. Karen shook his head. You kept me safe. This is thanks. Davis placed the necklace around his neck. Then I'll wear it with honor. The next morning, Davis prepared to leave. A rescue transport from the human base was on its way. Would pick up his squad and return them to the main camp. Karen, Don, and his mother walked with him to the edge of the village. I wish you could stay, Karen said softly. Davis knelt down. I'll come visit, I promise. If you ever need me, send word. Karen hugged him tightly. The mother looked at Davis. You changed something here. Showed us what humanity can truly be. Davis gave a small smile. It wasn't just me. It was him too. He gave me hope. The Ilari villagers raised their hands in a farewell gesture. Davis and his team stepped aboard the transport. As the ship rose into the air, Davis looked out the window. Karen stood below, waving, and in his heart, Davis knew something had changed. Not just in one village, but in the whole galaxy. The transport ship flew quietly above the burned land of Thalassari IV. Inside, Sergeant Davis sat near the window, watching the ground pass below. Though he had brought Karen home, the mission wasn't over yet. Across from him, Corporal Malik read the latest orders from command. His face looked serious. New orders, Malik said. There's a ceasefire meeting between human and Ilari leaders. It's happening near the old command post. They want us to escort a message. And a guest. Davis raised an eyebrow. Guessed. Just then, the back of the ship opened and Karen's uncle Selim stepped in. He wore traditional Alari armor and carried a long, glowing staff. I asked to come, Selim said. The elders believe peace must begin with those who have walked through fire together. Davis smiled. Then let's walk again. The ship landed near a destroyed comm station, not far from the ceasefire zone. The area was quiet but tense. Smoke still rose in the distance. Mines and traps were hidden under the soil. No one trusted the peace just yet. They began their journey on foot. Davis, Malik, 2 other human soldiers, and Selim. The path was dangerous. The war had left behind a dead zone, full of broken machines, poisoned air, and enemy scouts. As they moved through the ruins, Davis kept one hand on his rifle and the other on his scanner. Any sign of enemy movement? He asked. Malik shook. His head clear for now, but it feels too quiet. They passed through an abandoned village, human-built, now empty. Davis stopped near a wall. There in black paint were the words, "No one left behind." He ran his fingers over the letters. Selim stood beside him. Do your people believe that? Davis nodded. The good ones do. Selim said, that's why Karen is alive. They moved on. Hours passed, the sun sank lower in the sky. Strange sounds echoed through the trees, metal clicking drones. In the distance, the call of wild creatures mutated by war. Suddenly, a loud beep came from the scanner. Stop, Malik shouted. Mines. Everyone froze. Davis looked at the screen. They were standing inside a hidden minefield. No fast movement. Davis said, We'll go slow. 1 step at a time. Selim nodded. Let me go first. Ilari, I see different patterns. I may spot what your tools miss. Davis hesitated, then nodded. All right, just be careful. Step by step, they crossed the field. Selim pointed out wires and sensors the scanner didn't detect. Together, they moved like shadows. Finally, after 30 long minutes, they reached the edge of the danger zone. Everyone sighed in relief. Malik wiped sweat from his face. Remind me to never question alien eyes again. As night fell, they stopped to rest in a cave. A small fire gave light and Davis passed around water packs. Selim sat nearby, watching the flames. You risked much, Selim said. For one child. Why? Davis thought for a moment. I have a daughter back on Earth. She's the same age as Karen. If she were lost, I'd want someone to help her. Selim nodded. You understand, family. Many forget that. In war. Davis looked at him. Maybe if more people remembered that, we wouldn't have wars. Selim looked into the fire. Our people were told humans only bring destruction, but the one who saved my nephew wore your face. It changes things. Davis reached into his bag and pulled out the small necklace Karen had given him. He gave me this, he said. Said it means protector of light. Selim's eyes widened. That title is not given lightly. Among our kind, it means someone who shines, even in the darkest place. Davis touched the stone. Then I'll try to live up to it. The next morning, they reached the ceasefire camp, a small base built by both humans and Alari. Flags of both sides flew together. Guards watched closely, but no weapons were raised. Inside the camp, human commanders waited, along with Alari. Elders Davis stepped forward and saluted. Message delivered, sir. Ilari representative is here with peaceful intent. Selim bowed. We come not with weapons, but with memories. The leaders nodded. They entered the meeting hall, but Davis stayed outside. He looked at the camp humans and Alari standing together for the first time. Without fear, Malik joined him. You think it'll work? I don't know, Davis said, but I know this peace doesn't start in meetings. It starts in moments. Like saving a child, Malik said. Exactly. Hours later, the meeting ended. The Alari elder came out with a smile. They listened. Real change may come. Selim walked to Davis and placed his hand on his shoulder. You are more than soldier now. You are symbol. Davis looked unsure. I'm just a man who didn't walk away. That's exactly the kind we need. Before leaving, Selim gave Davis a small crystal. When the stars call, let this be the path between us. Double quotes. Davis held it tightly. We'll keep the path open. As they boarded the transport to return, Davis looked back at the land still broken, still healing. But now, a small spark had been lit. One child saved. One promise kept in one road, finally leading home. The transport ship soared high above Thalassari 4, cutting through the morning clouds. Inside, Sergeant John Davis sat quietly, looking down at the land below. Wounded cities, burned forests, and broken towers spread out like scars. But now, there was something different, a feeling that the healing had begun. Beside him, Corporal Malik was adjusting his gear. "You think the peace will last?" Malik asked. Davis thought for a moment. "If it's built on fear, maybe not. It's built on trust. No. Maybe it will." Malik nodded. He gave them a reason to trust. That's a start. A few days later, Davis stood on a platform in the center of Unity Base, the new human Alari peace outpost. Flags of both worlds waved in the warm wind. Soldiers and civilians, both human and Alorist, in lines, waiting. There were no guns. In sight, only flowers, music, and hope. Davis wore a clean uniform now. His wounds had been treated, but the bandage under his coat reminded him of the battle. He didn't mind. Scars were part of the story. A human general stepped forward and spoke to the crowd. "We are gathered here not just to end a war, but to honor something greater. A moment when a soldier chose to save instead of destroy. A moment when humanity showed its true heart." He turned to Davis. "Sergeant John Davis, please step forward." Davis walked to the front. He wasn't used to standing on stages. Didn't like attention. But today was not just about him. This soldier carried an alien child across enemy lines through fire, storm, and fear. He did not ask what species the child was. He did not wait for orders. He simply acted with courage, compassion, and honor. The general stepped back, and now an Alari elder walked forward. He held a golden shell, polished and glowing. "This is the crystal of crossing," the elder said. "It is given only once in a lifetime to someone who bridges two worlds." He placed the crystal around Davis's neck. "You are now known among us as Zel Ruthawan, who walked through flame for peace." Davis nodded, touched by the honor. "Thank you. I didn't do it for reward. I just couldn't leave him." A small voice called out from the crowd, "Doro." Davis turned. Karen was running through the people, smiling wide. Behind him, his mother walked with quiet pride. Davis knelt down as Karen jumped into his arms. "You came," Davis said softly. Karen nodded. "I told Mama I wanted to see the brave soldier one more time." "You're the brave one," Davis said. "I just followed you." Karen pulled something from his pouch. A small stone, smooth and warm. "This is my father's stone," he said. It was his courage symbol. "I want you to have it." Davis hesitated. "Karen, I can't." But the boy shook his head. "You already carry his courage. Now carry his symbol too." Davis took the stone gently and placed it beside the glowing crystal on his chest. "I'll protect it. Always." The crowd clapped. Many had tears in their eyes. Even some of the hardened soldiers wiped their faces. It wasn't just a ceremony. It was a turning point. Later that evening, Davis walked along the quiet path near the lake at Unity Base. The sun was setting, painting the sky with orange and purple. He heard footsteps behind him. It was Karen and his mother. "I wanted to thank you again," the mother said, "for more than just bringing him home." Davis smiled. "He brought me home too, in his own way." She nodded. "You changed how our people see yours." "And how?" "I see war. It doesn't always take force to make change. Sometimes it takes a heart." Karen sat by the water and picked up pebbles. "Will you go back to Earth now?" "Maybe for a while," Davis said, "but I think I'll return. There's still work to do here." Karen's eyes lit up. "You'll visit my school?" Davis laughed. "Only if you promise not to throw fish at me like last time." "No promise." Karen laughed. That night, lights floated over the lake again. The Alari light ceremony continued, a new tradition shared now with humans. Each person released a glowing orb into the water, whispering their hopes. Davis held his orb. For unity, he said. He placed it gently on the surface of the lake. It joined the others, drifting with the breeze. A sea of glowing wishes, floating. Peacefully, from above, Earth's satellite camera caught the imager ring of light spreading across dark water. The image was sent across planets, across systems, and people everywhere saw what hope looked like. Not a weapon, not a threat, but a human kneeling beside an alien child. Both laughing, both holding the light together in the years that followed. Stories of Sergeant Davis and Karen spread across galaxies. New peace talks began. New friendships formed. The HFY moment, humanity, F, asterisk, asterisk, yeah. Asterisk was not about winning wars. It was about saving lives, about walking through fire. Coming out with someone else in your arms.